this, do not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's going on? Today is October 3rd, 2023, and the government is still working for us, okay? At least I think I can. At least I believe they are. Today, we're going to talk about something I believe I discussed yesterday, but it's super important, and it's to learn the tips and tricks for obtaining an interview to be waived, okay, folks? Now, I mentioned for the past couple of days, in case your interview is not waived and it's actually scheduled, don't be scared, okay? It's okay. Friends, my name is John Ting. I'm an immigration lawyer in the United States, specifically in Houston, Texas, with an office in Houston, Texas. And we're here to solve your immigration problem, or maybe even prevent the problem from happening in the first place. And you can maybe prevent that problem before even without even hiring a lawyer. Okay, maybe all you have to do is just join us live. Maybe it doesn't have to be Monday through Friday every week of the year. I try to go live almost every day. I'm almost at the brink of not being able to go live because of my voice. I don't know why it is. I rarely get sick, but when I do, it happens to be this time of year. So get your flu shots. I mean, you will get a little sick if you take the flu shot. Of course, from what I understand, I'm not a doctor. It's of course to get your body ready for it, build up your immune system. All right. So anyways, I'm not a doctor, but I do solve immigration problems. So today I'm going to share some tips on how to get your interview waived. The first thing, so this is for people who are beneficiaries, immigrants, foreign nationals living in the United States currently, and also had already entered the United States with a visa, with the legal documentation, okay? Sure, there's some people, limited scenarios, which I'll record a video later. I know someone asked me about this question. It's like, well, am I eligible for adjustment of status when I entered without a visa? So it's not so much about how, it's about if you're eligible, because it's not like you're trying to wiggle in and try to be eligible for AOS. It's like, it is what it is. Like if you're eligible based on your facts of your immigration history. So by the way, folks, we do offer a strategy session at no cost to you. Okay. We do charge money if you want more time. We have I think a reasonable consultation fee. If you want, I think 30 minutes to an hour. I don't know if you want to talk to me or one of our premier attorneys for an hour, but we're here to share information. Okay. And at least it's more specific for you, your scenario. I do try my best to answer questions here on a live show, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok. To be honest, it's very easy these days for me to do this. I used to do this in person and like Know Your Rights workshops. So because I've done that in the past, I just feel like this is one way to give back to people. So take it for what you will. I know there's a lot of other attorneys on social media, but there's also a lot of non-attorneys on social media in sharing legal advice. Just be careful of that. That even for me, I'm supposed to tell you I'm sharing legal information, not advice, because advice is construed to mean one-on-one. So of course, if you ask a question here, I'm happy to answer it to the best of my ability and the time allowed here. But if you want a more in-depth answer, or I don't respond to you, I don't answer your question, I apologize. Just give us a call. You can see the number up here on Facebook and YouTube, or you can go to our website, greencardguys.com. All right, greencardguys.com. Click on Contact Us, and I think one of our team members is going to upload a video to share with people how to do that, because I don't know, some of y'all get tripped up on technology, and that's why TikTok is a lot easier these days. So anyways, the number, jeez. All right, number one tip I got to get these tips out to you. Number one tip to get your interview waived is get the medical exam. Okay. And someone asked this yesterday, I believe. If you want the best chance and you also don't think you qualify for the waiver of the vaccine, okay, the COVID-19 vaccine, um, won't go back into that explanation like I did yesterday. But honestly, I've never heard of anyone getting approved the 601 waiver so they don't have to take the vaccine waiver. Maybe they have, but even if others have, doesn't mean that you will, because it's even more specific to your situation, okay, of why you don't want to take the vaccine. But what I'm trying to say is, if you are going to take the vaccine, you definitely need to include that information on your medical exam. Okay, so just time it right. If you haven't taken the vaccine yet, do that first, and then take your medical exam for immigration purposes. And specifically, provide that sealed envelope. It must be sealed. If it looks like the tape or something gets broken, unsealed, you're gonna have to get a new copy. All right. So if you want a copy of it for your own records, that's cool. That's great. You need to have that. You should ask the medical clinic or doctor's office to give you another copy. In fact, they might ask you to provide paper for it. I don't know. They're just so weird. And they don't want to spend money on paper to give you the results, I guess. That's what I've heard. So just be cognizant of that. You might even have to ask that question. Like, do I need to print the exam to bring to your office? I've had people tell me that. It's nuts. Like, I don't charge y'all. Ting Law Group does not charge y'all for paper. So I just think it's wild. This medical industry in America is bonkers. All right, so you're welcome to continue dropping your questions in the comment section or the chat box, and I'll get to it soon. Excuse me. All right, the second tip. Now, this is also assuming these tips are also for marriage-based cases, all right, to a U.S. citizen, because if it's someone as a resident, you're probably not going to get approved for adjustment because you have to show that you maintain status. So, I mean, unless like you have another non-immigrant visa currently, you haven't maintained status, or like, student visa even. So I know there's a lot of great questions here. I'll get to it soon. One other tip. So yeah, second tip here really is your bank account. We prepared a client, I mentioned, I think last Friday, to be ready to have evidence of your continuing use of your bank account, but it's just not the bank statement, right? Because if I were a USCIS officer and I worked for USCIS, I would look at the bank statement and say, what you got going on over here? You got $200 in an account. Like, is this your main account? Like, if I want to be a rude ass, if I want to be really, really great at my job, I'm not saying other officers are not. They're very kind. But if I want to be a jerk ass and looked at your bank statement and said, $200 in your account? Like, look, I get after pandemic and whatnot, times are tough, but is this your main account? And of course, you look at other deposits, like, do you even have I get it if you got deposits coming in and debit, is that what we call it? Expenses going out, so it ends up being a lower balance. That makes sense. But if like you don't have any deposits going in that's substantial, there's like, well, then how do you pay your bills, right? So we think outside the box and we think, well, how do I spend money? I use my credit card, which, by the way, folks, personal finance tip: if you use a credit card, try your best to pay it in full, okay, so that you don't accrue interest on it, that you have to pay interest back to credit card companies. And I know times are tough, but like, really consider what you need, because a lot of people, doesn't matter your immigration status, a lot of people fall into hard times because inability to have a financial budget. And my wife tells me she doesn't want to be on a budget. So, oh my God. So, but I try my best to share information with her, communicate. This is not dating advice or relationship advice, but please communicate about finances with your significant other, because aside from, there's just a lot of reasons that people get divorced or separated. but one of them is money. The second one is government immigration case delays, unfortunately, which I'll talk about in a second. Okay, but so I guess the second tip was about like showing more money in that account if possible, because as an officer, if I were an officer, right, I'm not pretending to be a real officer, but anyway, that's what I would look at. The third tip related to your bank account is, do you use it regularly? We've had some clients that might have like 5 transaction activities per month or something, and I'm like, that's wild. Like you gotta use it. You gotta use it more often. And if you don't use your checking account or whichever account that often, that's okay if you use a credit cards more often. You know what I mean? So you at least have at least one account that is having recurring expenses. So an easy one is your bills, like your regular bills, your phone bill, your utility bill, which is like, let's say your electricity, your gas bill, what else? Cable bill, like phone. Yeah, I mean all this stuff, right? So I'm not saying your Candy Crush bill, your bill for games. I'm not talking about that. But unless it's recurring, well, then that's another problem. But um, I know some of y'all addicted to those phone games or something. But anyways, that's what I would consider if I'm an officer. Now, we've been very fortunate that clients listen to our advice and boost up their activity, increase the activity in the bank account, so they are prepared for the interview. Now, we have some officers that don't even ask about it, and I'm like shocked, to be honest. And I'm not going to make an assumption here, but who knows? Maybe because us attorneys are at the interview, the officers, and if we've gained a reputation to have trustworthy, credible clients that don't lie, then our reputation is, there for what it is, But really, I try to break the ice with officers. The days are tough. Just being a human is tough. So I get that, they're just trying to do their job. So what I'm trying to say is, some people that we hear do this, even attorneys, the interview ends and they're like, so when am I going to get updated? Like, like you can ask the same question, but in a different way so that people just human nature, right? Like I'm less likely going to be willing to answer that question if it's phrased in a rude way or the tone of voice. So that's like, it's kind of strange, but I didn't learn this in law school. I learned this just communicating with people and having those conversations. It's kind of like negotiating. I know some lawyers out there sharing videos on that. I might have to do that. But anyways, we got approved last Friday on the spot. On the spot. It was awesome. I have to tell you, that was pretty awesome. It was pretty cool to get that stamp for the client on his passport. And I was very happy for my married clients. So if you are interested for something like that, if you want to smooth the journey, and even if your current situation is a little bit rocky, that's okay. We're here to help you. We're trying to get you out of not being stuck anymore, out of the swamp with your no status, to get you some legal status if you're eligible, of course. Now we're happy. So that's it's a good segue to mention. If you can see this number right up top, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, or you give us a call. Our CARES team specialist would appreciate if you share the secret code. Okay. The code today is CHAMP. All right. I switch up the codes every once in a while. It's really give y'all some benefit. Okay. Because we do receive a lot of inquiries. Other attorneys refer us cases, even immigration lawyers that are not comfortable with certain situations, they refer to us. So we really appreciate your trust to even asking a question, and also other attorneys. So anyways, share that secret code, CHAMP. Sometimes I mix up the codes. Today's code is CHAMP. Share that code. Even if you want to DM us and you're at work, just send us a message real quick, CHAMP, and we'll know what to send to you, like the website, so you can answer a few questions, things like that. All right. So, of course, I got way more tips, but now I'll answer some questions. Wow, we got a lot of questions today. That's wonderful. So if you're just now jumping on live, we do welcome, we do share, we do offer the opportunity for strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not every, please don't take this don't take this the wrong way. We don't offer a free consultation to everyone because look, we train our attorneys, including myself, train our CARES team specialists who are not attorneys to get a pretty good idea, but to see if someone's qualified, eligible for a visa, a green card, or citizenship to become a citizen. If they say sorry, no, we don't offer assistance on that, or then and you want to bypass them, sorry, CARES team. If you want to bypass them because maybe you don't believe them for some reason, you're still welcome to pay for that consult. But we train our team every day. So, but again, they're not lawyers. So if you ask them questions, they're not going to be able to answer your question. But you can ask them, and they can write it down in the form for us. Okay. All right. Good afternoon. You want green card 16? That's a funny name. I hope you get that green card. All right, Nessie. Miriam, we're located in Houston, Texas. Come out to Houston, Texas. We got some great food over here. Maybe not today because it's raining, but we have some people that travel out of state. It's pretty interesting. Nessie D on YouTube. Can you use biometrics appointment receipt to get a state ID in Florida? To be honest, I don't know what's going on in Florida for that. I don't think biometrics is enough in general, whether it's Florida or another state. But I recall that in Texas, you can provide the approval notice. So biometrics is before the approval notice, of course, for the work permit. So hopefully that helps, Nessie. Jassy Callie on TikTok. How long does judge take to reply to motion advance? So motion to advance means, for anyone that's not familiar, this is related to a court filing, a request in court to a judge, immigration court, to bump up your hearing date to be earlier. Okay. So, I mean, in general, motions, decisions on motions by judges, there's no timeline, unfortunately. I wish there was like black and white, like judges can tell us, like, okay, expect a decision in 2 weeks' time. Unfortunately, that's not possible. It would be awesome if there's like for certain motions. I wish there were like let's say like motion to advance or motion to continue the trial to be a future date a little bit later. I wish that was done by like a couple judges so they could be more streamlined. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Government doesn't like to consider workflow like we do with our law firm. Wait to Jenna, what's up? Welcome back. How long should one wait after entering U.S. to marry? So whether it's entering the U.S. or like if you just got divorced or something, a lot of people talk about this 90-day rule. Fortunately, that hasn't been an issue, right? But it's more about the issue is about intent, though. Okay, right? So if you get married in less than 90 days, based on entry, you have to be able to explain that to an officer on why you didn't have that intent to get married at the time that you entered. So generally speaking, it's pretty difficult, right, to explain that. It can be difficult because let's say you entered, just make something up, like entered October 1st and then you got married October 31st. Like, it's a pretty big decision to get married with someone. So you have to be able to explain that. So if you can explain that to each other and especially to your attorney without laughing or crumbling, then sure, go for it. But I really recommend to, especially if you want to get your case to be waived, interview waived, I just recommend waiting some time. I'm not saying like 6 months or something, but waiting some time to build up that evidence, okay? Build up that evidence. Like the joint bank account, for example. Find a place that you're going to stay together, because some people, they move in with the in-laws, or they move in with where the spouse lives, but there's roommates. Like, look, y'all, that's the other thing. Like USCIS officers looks at that, looks at who's on the lease, who lives there, and even if it's just you two on the lease, they might ask you if you get a rude ass that officer. No, sorry, not being rude, but if they ask you politely, ask you, oh, who else? Does anyone else live there? I mean, you got to tell the truth, right? Because what if you lie and then they have someone sent to your apartment or where you live, and that someone else opens the door? Yeah, not a good idea. Credibility is very important. Credibility is one word that sums up, is this person telling the truth? So yeah, you don't want to be caught up in a lie. And it was like what you call like a white lie. I know that's like an American phrase, I guess. Anyways, let's see. So, wow, this is amazing. Y'all have a lot of questions. I don't try to answer as many as I can. Today's Tuesday, so I can answer like 10 more questions. Do I process for citizenship? Also, yes, we do. Our law firm does help with that. But number one, like any other case type, we want to make sure that you're eligible. Okay. Make sure you're eligible. Actually, related to citizenship, actually, my cousin-in-law just got approved today. He just got approved. It was wonderful news because it was the second time taking the test. Which, by the way, to take the English test, the civics part of it, I mean, you have up to 10 questions, folks. 10 questions. In America, 70% is passing, right? For school, right? 70% is passing, as far as I know. But with USCIS Citizenship Civics Test, you can score less than that and still pass. There's other parts of the exam itself, like you have to write a statement that's right in front of you. Okay, I'll get to your question, Vikram. I got a lot of questions to answer here. So I recommend in general, by the way, don't copy and paste your questions because then it takes more time to filter through. But I will definitely get to your question if I can. Now I lost my train of thought. Okay, so what was I talking about? Citizenship. You get 2 chances with 1 application fee, and you can score 6 out of 10 and still pass. 6 out of 10. So it behooves you to practice. If you sign up with us, we have some practice guides, a link to practice, a website link so you can practice. Okay. We have all the resources, but it's up to you at the end of the day. It's up to you to utilize those resources. Okay. I even know there's like churches or religious institutions that have their own like programs that I want to assume are free, safely assume. So the point is, there are resources available to you for free. Okay. So don't give up. Okay. Because and also even before that, don't tell yourself you're not going to file that application or even try. You don't want to try because you may not, you think you're going to fail. I think that's just like a thing in life, right? Some of us think we're going to fail at something. So then we don't try. So just kind of like flip it like a pancake, right? Just try, like, reverse your mindset and just think about what is one action you can take today that will reduce the barrier, reduce your mental mindset to take the next step. I'm talking about immigration law right now, right? Every day in a live show, but think about that. Think about that. Use that same concept for anything else in life. Like, what is one little thing that you can do today that will make some progress on your life, whether it's a career, you're getting yourself prepared for an interview, like fine-tuning your resume, using ChatGPT, like one little thing you can do to help you. Okay. So there's a lot of resources, whether you're in the United States or not. I mean, as long as you got internet, and you do anyway, it can help you. So that's why we're here live. Okay. Quetta, then I'll get to Vikram. Quetta, you got a letter from your employer, valid from the petitioner. Oh, shoot. Maria, can you pin that comment again? Let's see if I can find it. Okay, I found it. Thanks, Maria. By the way, shout out to Maria. She is a bit sick. I told her not to work, and she's pinning comments for us. Thank you. You got. Can a letter from employer be valid from petitioner instead of pay stubs, direct deposit screenshots? Okay, I see what you're saying. So maybe you're in a situation where you you need to show proof like H-1B porting or something, change of employer. Ooh, boy, that's tough. That's tough. If that's like the scenario, that's gonna be tough. Fortunately, we haven't had the scenario where we had to submit a letter, so I'm not sure. Instead of pay stubs, oh, that's gonna be tough. Well, how have you been paid? Do they pay you like old school check, and they don't do like W-2 or something? So yeah, just thinking outside the box. I mean, maybe they can create pay stubs as long as you're legally paid, right, correctly. Then maybe their HR, or maybe it's a small company, they have someone on a team that can create it. Okay, because there's need to be some kind of something to show that yeah you've been paid, but preferably in a pay stub type format. Doesn't mean it has to go through like a specific. They don't ask like did it. The USCIS doesn't ask like does it go through this payroll vendor? Like so. I mean, Canva.com is available. Even Microsoft Word might have some templates. So as long as you're paid those wages, then I don't think it matters the format, but like where it came from, basically. Someone named I Want Green Card 16 says on YouTube says salary certificate, which I've never seen what that looks like actually. Maybe that's similar to a letter, just someone from your company attesting to, or maybe HR attesting to how you're paid or how much you're paid. He or she also says bank statement showing direct deposit. Yeah, that's good call. Hey, thanks. I Want Green Card 16. That's really thinking outside the box there. JP. Okay, sorry. I'm going to switch over to Vikram. He or she asked me to look at his question. F2A. Here we go. F2A filing adjustment status. So meaning you're here in the United States. Okay, has a cutoff date of September 1st. So that's chart A. I think that's what you mean. That's chart A. Can you file your I-130 now? Wait, what? You haven't filed I-130? First, Vikram, if you're in the United States or anyone else in this situation, I was, based on what you're saying, you sound knowledgeable about immigration terminology. But the thing is, I was assuming when people mention visa bulletin, it's usually that you may have, or the question is usually can I file a 485? And for some people, it depends, right? But you are asking, can you file the I-130 now? The visa bulletin has nothing to do about when you can file a petition. In general, as long as you qualify based on the relationship, you can file a petition now. But to petition has no bearing on whether you can adjust status or go through the visa interview via what we call consular processing. So keep in mind, in general, by the fact that you're talking about visa bulletin, the first thing that comes to my mind related to that is that you have to show that you maintain your status in America if you want to adjust status, which is basically phase 2, right? So if your next question could be like, when can I file 45? That's a future question. I can't answer that now. That's way too in the future, because most people might know that visa bulletin changes every month. So even if I said you're eligible now to file 45, it could change tomorrow or change the next bulletin, right? So sorry, I say help in that situation because visa bulletin sucks. The fiscal every year, visa limitations suck. They do need to change that. Congress does. So not trying to give you a hard time, Vikram, but y'all really need to know this concept is that if you're banking on trying to get adjusted to a green card resident status in the United States vis-a-vis a family preference category relationship, aka not married to a U.S. citizen spouse, or even if you're applying through employment-based preference categories, which is all of them, all of those through your employer, you need to show that you maintain status, okay, a non-immigrant status. That could be L visa, O visa, P visa, like an athlete. But there's a bunch. There's actually a bunch. H-1B, student, you can. So hopefully that helps. Um, yeah, you don't have to wait for a certain time for the visa bulletin to hit for you to file a petition. But I don't know how you know what your priority date is if you haven't filed your. And you asked, do you have follow up? Cannot file both now since there's a cutoff date on the filing chart? Yeah, I'm not saying filing both, but you can file a petition on 130 in general. Okay. In fact, you don't want to wait for your situation. You don't want to wait for both because then you wouldn't have a priority date, right? A priority date a person only gets a priority date when you file the petition, and it's going to be on that notice, 797 notice, your very first one, notice of receipt. So, like you say, let's say priority, like an example, October 15th. Like you can't. I know you're trying to give an example, but where else would it come from? It comes from your receipt notice based on that. Okay, so let me. I hope that helps. That's anything related to family preference, employment-based preference, visa bulletin. It's a handful. Like I could have a week-long webinar series basically. So real quick here, John Macau asked, "Do I help with the DV lottery application?" I don't, honestly, because I think it's straightforward, and honestly, it takes like a year process minimum. And I heard that there's like 10,000 plus people who were selected for DV in the past fiscal year lottery, but did not get scheduled for an interview. And you might think, well, what the hell? Like, why didn't I get my interview? The government doesn't care. They're like, just try again next year. Maybe you get in a slot for interview next year. Like, that's freaking frustrating. And I think their understanding behind that is like, it's a lottery. Like, it's kind of like just for fun for us. So if you get lucky, you get lucky. So it's like you got to get lucky twice. It's crazy. That's their stance ever since it was pandemic and Trump shut it down for like almost a year. So yeah, that's honestly one of the main reasons why we don't help with that. But I'm gonna get in touch with my team about maybe preparing a video, just giving some pointers on it, sharing the website. So thank you for that question. Now to TikTok, prosecutorial discretion is taking more than a year to get an answer. Yes, freaking frustrating. Fortunately, we do get more. We are able to get an answer when it's a case. We have been getting answers in positive outcomes to get cases dismissed when the what was I going to say? The case is active. When the case is active. Actually, today, this morning, folks, we got some good news. We actually did have an attorney. Great question. We did actually have a government attorney from DHS get back to us about a case that a person was ordered removed, I think about 20 years ago, like the early 2000s. What music pop star was going on and hot in 2000s? I mean, that's a long time ago. I can't think of one. I'm not really into pop and all that, but look, my point is like that case is hella old. Okay. And this is San Francisco, just got back to us. So I gotta make sure that my team has contacted that client, but it is possible because the Supreme Court made a decision in June 2023 so that that they can in general that any state cannot get involved with federal enforcement policies, or they would say conservative states was lack thereof enforcement, really, because that's to make it a priority. Certain cases, certain people priority, and others not. And then just recently, so news off the press here. We do share weekly news on our social media every Saturday, by the way. I believe on TikTok and YouTube. But just last week, I believe September 27th, the director Neil, I can't remember his first name, Director Neil had just issued out a memo to the judges saying, I mean, it was like 2 pages long, but AKA, just quick summary, follow the enforcement priorities. So basically, if DHS attorney says they want to dismiss the case, then the judge should also agree to dismiss a case. On the flip side, that could be a bad thing. Like if Department of Homeland Security says we don't want to dismiss a case, we still want to bypass the government lawyers, still ask the judge, can we dismiss this case? Right? Based on facts, right? Not just like willy-nilly ask. Like you got to have some proof. So anyway, a Department of Homeland Security attorney just contacted us today about an old removal case. Finally, man. That was like, I think it was about a year. So are we going to get the case dismissed? It's going to be difficult, right? Because one thing they look at is credibility. We were not their attorneys from 20 years ago, but we got to review the record so that we can share information that's relevant. This is what we do for any case in general. We review the record, get certain information from those opinions, from those decisions, or their life story, and summarize it for the government attorney or the USCIS officer so that they can make an easier decision, right? It's kind of like just us humans in general. We have a lot of decisions to make in life. So we want to make as easy as possible that we prepare that officer, that government attorney to be able to make that decision. So we don't just ask them simply like, can you dismiss the case? And if I was a government attorney receiving an email like that, like, I can't even consider that request because you didn't give me any information that's useful or anything, right? So that's how we think to prepare our clients or help our clients. So you need an attorney to be proactive, okay, to have that kind of mindset. All right. And I hope you have that mindset for yourself and anything in life. Lala 12, your husband has been, oh shoot, 36 months. I don't know. So we just set up a poll. I don't know how y'all can see the poll here on this TikTok live show, but I put one about how long have you been delayed on your case? And Lala 12 said your husband's been waiting 36 months for the 601A. That's crazy. So you didn't ask a question, but if I can share some information, Maria or myself will look for your follow-up. Sorry, I want the green card 16. We have to set up the YouTube is not as easy to create a poll, so we'll have to do that after the fact on the community tab. So shout out to TikTok for making it easier. Yeah, I don't think that's available on YouTube or Facebook right now. But anyway, it's set up the polls like if you've been delayed at least 12 months to 24 months or 24 plus months. So if yeah, I mean so Lala 36 Lala some number, you may want to consider filing a lawsuit at this point. Okay, you can honestly do it after 12 months on a waiver case, but some people are hesitant to do that just simply because the processing time schedule says 44 months. Last time I checked. So you don't actually have to wait whatever the hell it says on the processing timetable. Because we keep arguing to the U.S. attorneys that, for example, waiver cases were approved or decided on in 8 months' time before the pandemic. So you can't just so clearly it is possible to process an application within X time period. So just because it's the post-pandemic, you can't argue that it's pandemic still. It's post-pandemic. So anyways, USCIS can go to hell about their own processing timetable. Moya, oh my God, did I say that out loud for the first time ever? Moya, what will happen if you have a pending case, but you and your spouse are now divorced? Ooh, sorry to hear that. You're going to have to withdraw the application. I mean, I don't know what it is, but of course, speak with before you make a decision on anything. I recommend you speak to an attorney one-on-one, but just based on the limited information you shared, I recommend that you consider withdrawing your case because let's say you get scheduled for an interview and you show up and you're like, my spouse didn't show up because I don't have a spouse anymore. You're already at the interview. They're going to deny you. So if you want to perfect your record, meaning don't get denied, you might want to consider withdrawing. And then you're going to, of course, the next question is, well, then what's going to happen with my status? Most people that apply for marriage cases don't have status anymore. They overstayed. So I don't know if that's your situation. So, but maybe you don't have to share here on a live show. But if anyone's been abused, whether it's physical, emotional, not basically non-verbal, but there's a way to document it, the way to have proof. Okay, then you can possibly consider something called VAWA, Violence Against Women Act. And by the way, it's not just for women. It's not just for the female gender. It is gender neutral. Okay. Fortunately, thank the Lord on that one. Thank goodness they figured that out a long time ago. Let's see here. All right, Mr. Nice Guy. We got something in common. Let me pin this comment. Oh, it didn't let me. Okay. Someone asked. I've been here for 10 years and never went to immigration court. Does that mean you've that you had a court hearing? If you knew you had a court hearing, you didn't show up, but you found out after the fact, then look, then there's a possibility to reopen the case. And we have to look at your address from the past. And if you possibly updated the government agencies correctly about it, there is an opportunity to reopen the case. But I will only do that if you have some kind of possibility of getting a green card. Like if you just want to reopen, just to reopen, but maybe you don't have an approved I-130. If you're not married to someone, then I wouldn't do that yet. I would just time it right in that sense. Because you only get one chance, okay, to reopen the case from court, typically. So, but if you knew about the court hearing and you decided just to not show up and you knew about it, then you can't reopen the case. I'm not saying you can't try, just based on the law. Can you get Mr. Good, Mr. Good Looking? What's up now? What's up? Can you get a green card from an H-1B visa? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And you want to time it right with your employer. Like, let's say you get sponsored by them and you just got the H-1B, for example. It's probably not a good idea. I mean, up to you, but probably not a good idea to turn around the next day and say, hey, buddy, can you, hey, HR buddy, can you sponsor me for a green card? You just want to time it right, but don't wait too long. I probably wouldn't wait 3 years. Sooner the better, but I wouldn't wait 3 years later and then ask, and definitely not by the 4th year. All right. So we advise our employer company clients the same. They look at because you want to prove that you're got good work ethic, right? That's the whole issue with employers. They're trying to be very careful in who they hire because they want to make sure that people have really good work ethic, and not saying that you have to work like crazy. I hope not. By the way, our attorneys don't have to work more than 40 hours. I know there's a lot of law firms that require their attorneys to work 40 hours. We don't ask any employee, any team member on our team to work more than 40 hours. If they want to, that's up to them, but we really don't promote working more than 40 hours per week. Because when they have to work on your case, I want them fresh. I want them to be in sound mind, less stress as possible, so they can do the best they can for you. All right. I'm serious about that. So Hafsa said, I-130 interview has taken more than 120 days. Can you submit case status inquiry? Okay, so you only file petition only. Why did you have an I-130 interview? Is that because you have a case in court? And when you say your interview took place more than 120 days without a decision, then yeah, you should be able. I think you can submit inquiry. I'm gonna ask my team to see if they can check on that. But yeah, that's what, 4 months. uh, Gonzalez on YouTube. How long does it take for someone who just entered through the border to apply for EAD card? When you say enter through the border, I hope you're meaning through humanitarian parole using the CBP1 app or something, whatever the hell they call it. I heard they're giving notifications to people because they actually want to promote people who got humanitarian parole to apply for work permit. Um, but I don't know. I have no idea how long it takes. We don't help with humanitarian parole just because I think it's one of those things that's straightforward, and also like we don't know how long certain things are going to take with related to humanitarian parole. It's like up in the air. The government doesn't tell you, right? It's technically a lottery in that sense. So, but you can check the processing timetable on USCIS.gov. Aziz, can you expedite CR1 DQ'd May in 2023? It is possible through the National Visa Center, but you have to meet certain criteria. Now, USCIS has set out some criteria on the website. We have a free guide on it, but NVC uses, I think, similar criteria guidelines, but it doesn't hurt to ask. But when you ask NVC, you really have one chance. Okay. I mean, they don't say that you have one chance, but you also don't want to submit. You don't want to just ask. I like an expedite request. Like you're gonna have some reasons, right? And I think generally speaking, expedite request was made available by USCIS and National Visa Center because of the pandemic. We are no longer in the pandemic, according to CDC. Is the CDC correct? We don't know. We just follow them. We have no idea. But uh, it is what it is at this point. So what I'm trying to say is like USCIS and National Visa Center are being more restrictive when granting expedite request. So my point is, don't be entitled to it. I don't know if just don't be so disappointed because you were like banking on it. Okay. So hopefully that helps. I think just going live here and sharing like as best realistic expectation. I hope that's helpful to you because there's a lot of frustrations that happen in life. Like if I can share one less frustration on that, I hope, and then I'll feel a little better, I guess. How long will it take to bring a spouse to USA, your citizen here? Well, shit, Jazjeet, it may take you a while if you're asking that question. It may take, and that your spouse is outside US. It may take like almost 2 years, right? It may take almost 2 years. So hopefully, if you can read between the lines, hopefully your spouse already has a visitor visa, a valid one. Okay. So, folks, if you are considering to get married and your spouse, your significant other, your fiance does not have a visitor visa yet, apply for the visitor visa first before getting married. Just a hot tip. Okay. And schedule a meeting with us. Let's talk more. But let me just share this. Not telling you to overstay your visa because that'd be immigration violation, but I can tell you we've had many clients approved for residency based on marriage or immediate relative classification, even the parents, if the sponsor is a citizen over 21, adult child, that's worked, okay, because immediate relative classification. So if you want to learn more about it, give us a call. Fill out the form on the website, greencardguys.com. Holy goodness, it is almost 1:30. You guys are awesome. You guys are here live. Willing to listen. Mr. Nice Guy, I meant to share this. Mr. Nice Guy asked, what kind of hardship can I use? I tried to pin it earlier, didn't let me. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. Mr. Nice Guy says, what kind of hardship, extreme hardship can you use for a wife who overstayed her visa C1D after filing waiver? All right, so every time I check, a person cannot adjust status with C1D. Let me repeat that. A person who entered with the C1D and overstayed cannot obtain residency. Okay, so if you're filing for a waiver, you might want to consult a lawyer. We're happy to share a screen, like, and share the information. I can't do that right now, but if you want to set up a call, we can share that with you, okay? Or my team can send you the webpage about it. I mean, again, like, I could be totally wrong, but man, you're about to go down a journey, a rabbit hole in this sense. That's a lot of money. Okay, just government fees alone, right? So want to make sure you know that. And unless there's an exception, but I'm not familiar with an exception to the C1D as being the last visa of entry. So front page 42, I don't know why I can't pin comments. Front page 42 on TikTok asks who's best to file for mother or brother. It depends on the sponsor's resident or U.S. citizen, and it depends on what's going on with the visa bulletin right now. But in general, someone's got to file a petition, right? Don't take so much time trying to figure out who's best. Just file the dang petition first. But typically, it's the mother. Typically, it's the mother, okay? Because the sibling filing, that's the F4 category, and that's minimum 10 years across the board for any country. 10 years, okay? So that's another reason I go on a live show, share some strategy tips, especially if there's someone who's outside the United States, maybe they're in the United States now on a non-immigrant visa, but don't try not to overstay if you can get a company to sponsor you. So especially for people going through family preference category, let's say you already have a petition file. That's cool. You got the petition file so you can get that priority date. Just like I mentioned to Vikram earlier, get that priority date. It's like your ticket in line. Get in queue, okay? Because a lot of people say, oh man, the visa bulletin, it shows it's taking forever. I'm not going to file a petition for it. Well, shit, man, if you're not going to file at all, then you're not going to ever get in line. So just file the dang thing for your family member, okay? And even if your family member abroad says, no, I don't want to come to America. I don't want to come to America. I 90%, I'm pretty sure. Cannot guarantee for you. But pretty sure your family members 10 years later plus is going to be like, how can I come to America? How can I do that? And you're like, damn, man. And you're like, damn, I knew I should have filed that petition. Get you in line. Look, you don't have to hire a lawyer to help you with the petition. You don't, okay? We're here to help you. But look, it's the family connection. You guys got to, as conservatives would call it, chain migration. We like to call it building on the family tree in America, okay? All right. It's all about politics, is phrasing it, just like lawyers. So anyway, we want to help you continue that family relationship. So just file a petition. That's all I'm trying to say. As long as you have that family relationship that you can show based on birth certificates, hopefully. All right. Because man, that sucks. Every time I hear that question and someone says, man, how can I turn back the clock? It's like, man, I wish I had the magic ball answer for that one. So just file the petition. It costs $535 with the USCIS, and it might increase in the future, right? So, and your family member, if their family member is contesting and say, no, don't do it, it's a really good birthday gift for the future, right? It's a really good future gift. And they don't have to sign it, so you don't have to listen to them. It only requires a signature of the petitioner. User 3881 and a bunch of numbers. Man, it wouldn't let me pin the comment. So her question is, do I know how long a 290B takes to get adjudicated, aka mean processed? For USCIS error, it's in your 4th month. So we've been lucky in some cases because, I wouldn't say lucky. We've been able to present in certain information in a certain way so they can review it quickly and make a decision. But in general, unfortunately, on the USCIS webpage, there is no option to select on the processing timetable 290B. So AKA, that means USCIS can take as long as they want. We were able to overturn a decision by USCIS to make an approval. That took 3 years, right? USCIS took 3 years to get back to us. So sometimes a long delay can affect, obviously, relationship, case in general. So, so yeah, I mean, we've had one where a different lawyer forgot to file a 864 affidavit of support form, and we're able to get that reopened. But sometimes people want us to try something like you forgot to provide a medical exam, and then you got denied. But that was before their new process right now. But I think that was like last year. Then you just have to refile. And hopefully, you're still eligible. Sweetness on TikTok. How much do I really have to have in your account to file for your spouse? Um, there's no like black and white number in that sense. It's just essentially like you don't have to keep a minimum balance like a bank would require you to, but you want to be able to demonstrate, in my opinion, right? Maybe not USCIS. If you want the best chance possible, you want to demonstrate to USCIS officers that like this is your main account, right? Because essentially, the reason why they want to see shared joint bank account is so that each spouse can literally go to the bank, go to the ATM, and take as much money out as they want to for whatever reason or no reason at all, and you trust each other. Good luck. I wish you the best in trusting your spouse or significant other with that. I know it's a difficult decision, but yeah, there's no black and white number. So, but yeah, I mean, it's understandable to have a lower balance if you use it regularly, like 10 plus times a month, unless you're using a credit card, and that's different. Let's see here. Sorry, I missed the question. Miss Anthaman. Any CR green card expires in less than a month. Need receipt notes to have extension. Yeah, you need to file extension. I think you're talking about 71. Yeah. How long are receipt notices taking? You filed in August, September. Okay, so 2 months for you. Less than 2 months. Your credit card charged end of August. Still no receipt notice. Filed 2 months before green card expiration. Okay. Then it's a local field or service center office situation. You're not the only one. I've heard that. The fact that your card was charged, that means you filed it to. Hopefully, that means you filed to the correct office. Yeah. So the next thing is there's an option on the USCIS tools and resources page to submit inquiry based on lost receipt notice. But you know what? Let's go through that together real quick, if possible. Let me see if I can pull it up on my page here. I got a lot of tabs open. So let's see real quick. Okay, folks. And I'll try to upload a video later on how to do that on TikTok. Okay, and other web pages. So let me share my screen. Okay, there we go. So I'm sharing my screen on YouTube and Facebook, and this is the main website. You go to Tools on the top right. You scroll down, you go to Tools and Resources, top left box. Click on e-request. What does it say? Oh, did not receive notice by mail. All right. Let's see. Oh, I guess you can't do it. Well, that's stupid. It asks for receipt number. So it asks for receipt number. So how do you bypass it? You still might want to try without the receipt number but here's the deal, okay, folks. If you're filing by yourself, good luck. But if you're going to file by yourself, at least do this one thing. File it with a G1145 form, because you get an electronic notification by email or text, and you will receive a bunch of random letters and numbers. The letters are not random. That shows which service center is located, but the numbers are, I guess, slightly random. That is your receipt number. So in that situation, that's where it's good. You can copy and paste that into this inquiry form on the USCIS website. Unfortunately, you wouldn't know I think it would ask your date filed, but maybe you could put the date you mailed it at least, or the date that you received the receipt number via your email or text, and that can help. Okay. This might be the last question right up here. So, by the way, if you got some kind of value from the live show in general, thanks for the rose, Celine. I know other folks sent me some stuff earlier. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know exactly what it means, to be honest. I think someone told me it means like, actually, I don't remember, but I need to learn about that. But I really appreciate it. Okay. If you got some value from this, if you don't mind doing one of two things or both, tap the screen on TikTok for the likes or hit the thumbs up on Facebook and YouTube. And especially if you talk to a CARES team member before, by phone, of course, please consider going to reviewtinglaw.com and please mention your name because we do provide, our leadership provides prizes or bonuses to our CARES team specialists. Okay. Because we really want to incentivize them to have the best customer service. So we greatly appreciate it. Okay, so to the question, thanks, Elaine. Appreciate the rose. I want Green Card 16 says, how does perm and labor work? I guess the working employment EB process, EB3 unskilled, don't they have to prove why an immigrant and not someone local? Yeah, there's certain labor tests in terms of the market. So one of them is publicizing the job in the publication, like old school traditional paper. Depending on the type of job, it might have to be done additional ways, like if it's a professional job. But you're saying EB3 unskilled, it doesn't require additional steps, but I mean additional methods of showing the job posting. But yeah, that's one way, and the other way is the prevailing wage. Like, let's say, I don't know. Let me just make it up. Like, like a operations manager, whether it's operations manager or like a janitor or nanny, depending on where you live in the country, because of cost of living, inflation. There's going to be different wages. Like a janitor in California is not going to have the same salary as someone who is in Texas, right? So that kind of give you an idea. And so essentially, and I don't like to call it minimum wage, right? Because in Texas, I could be wrong, but I think the federal minimum wage is like $8. I'm completely. Let me see if I can find this. This will be interesting. Does anyone know? Drop in the comments if you know what the minimum wage is in America. In Texas, at least $7.25. Okay. So basically, yeah, they can't undercut. Employer company cannot undercut that wage below the prevailing wage. So again, prevailing wage is not the same as minimum wage. Okay, I can take. How do you justify getting a receptionist on EB3 just the way people get full-time aid? Same process. As long as you follow EB3 process, you don't have to justify it, like give a reason if that's what you mean. As long as you follow the process, you don't have to give any reasoning. Like, I need a maid because my house is dirty. No, you don't have to give that reasoning. So hopefully that helps. I don't know. Thank goodness on that. A lot of great questions. I'm not able to answer it all because my number one, just practically speaking, my voice is giving out. Maybe my kids would appreciate that. Moyo. Moya Allen on TikTok. It looks like you got a lot of comments. I don't know how far back it goes. I appreciate you sharing. Unfortunately, folks, when we close a live show, it doesn't save the comments. So I apologize if you end up messaging us later via DM. You're gonna have to copy and paste it or something. Maybe save it to an iCloud note and you can copy it to the DM. That's what I recommend because it doesn't, when you close the live show, it does not save these comments, unfortunately. That'd be awesome if it did. So maybe I need to submit that to TikTok support ticket as a suggestion. I think your first comment here, Moya Allen, this will be the last one I can answer because there's a lot to follow up on. But maybe others could be in a similar situation if you want to stay on. Moya Allen says, you're in the US, your husband filed for your kids, but they're not in the US, and your kids papers sent back on request and file 45, but they're not in the US. What should you do? So if your spouse is a US citizen, I didn't know if your spouse is a US citizen or not. So I'm going to X out this comment because I can only answer Moya Allen's question right now. If your spouse is a U.S. citizen, the spouse has to file a separate petition, I-130. So, so if the petition says on, like, I don't know, I think it's like 4th or 5th page, ask the question, where would you like your case moved to, essentially sent to the next step? If in the U.S., then it has to be the local field office, right, in the United States. If it's abroad, then the consulate embassy abroad. So maybe that's why they're asking for that. But then you have to file. Ooh, man. You're going to have to file another application. There's 2 options here. Okay. Well, let me read your other comments first. Maybe you answered it. You wrote a letter to USCIS telling them they're not in the country and send the files back. You called the USCIS office and spoke to someone and said they said, oh, geez, my whole table shook. They said to do that, but I was watching a video the other day saying that immigration do make mistakes. They know what they're doing, and I should have to pay the fee for the 45, even though my kids are not in the U.S. Yes, he is a citizen with deed for all kids. Okay, great. So yeah, you want to look back at your petition on I-130 and see how you answer that question, because it sounds like you're in the U.S. And so if you put the same location for you as you did for your children, that's a problem. Okay. So there's 2 options. You might not like it, either option. Okay. You file 824 application. Oh, you didn't? Okay. Well, that's good. Well, I don't know why they asked for RFE. This is one of those scenarios. It's probably better to schedule a consultation. Our phone number is up top, or on YouTube and Facebook. Well, you're on TikTok. So go to greencardguys.com. The secret code today is CHAMP. Okay. To get prioritized by our CARES team, so we can understand fully your situation. Yeah, that's weird. Well, hopefully petition's approved. So there's 2 options, okay? Just based on the facts we shared so far. You refile the I-130, and a petition states the embassy or consulate abroad, but it sounds like that's what you did already. The current petition, then I don't know, is the petition approved already at least? If it's not approved already, then that's just weird that they sent RFE for that. But the USCIS has been doing some weird things. I've heard from other attorneys as well. Oh man, it's like they got random people that work there that are not trained. So yeah, clearly stated where they were. So you may have put an address for them, like in the mailing address or something in a different country, right? But there's this very specific question on the petition, like where your case is going to next, essentially. So so that's what they look at. They don't necessarily look at the current address. Okay, they're very cookie cutter in terms of the training. So but they also can't guess on your behalf. Okay. So yeah, I think the best thing to do it. So yeah, file 824, which costs money, it's not free. And or to get the case moved from the USCIS to the State Department or National Visa Center to get that new case number and invoice ID, or file a new petition. But let's evaluate it. Let's look at your documents so we can give you much better advice. Okay. or I'm sorry, I'm only giving you legal information right now, and I would like to give our team would like to offer you legal advice if you would like to do that. uh, okay, fine. Two more questions, but that's it. Okay, folks. Celine, you got a lot. Is that diamonds next to your name? That's pretty cool. I think. What's that triangle? The blue triangle? I'm trying to learn TikTok. And you got this like red thing that says highlighted in red number 1. What does that mean? Can I click on that? Oh, interesting. Oh, that's cool. You're a top gift badger. Okay, then that means I should definitely answer your question. How long does VAWA take to approve after you got your work permit? Oh, you're not gonna like this answer. I don't know the answer to that. There's no black and white answer, unfortunately. There's no strict timing. I think just in general, it takes minimum 12 months, and they tend to not process VAWA cases faster than marriage cases to a U.S. citizen. I don't know why. I would think out of all cases, they really should process for VAWA faster. Um, but in fact, I think it takes more time, honestly, for the USCIS to review the information for due diligence more so than a marriage case, because I unfortunately have heard of fraud for VAWA cases. So take it for what you will. But unfortunately, because there's been fraudulent cases before, that's why USCIS takes longer in general. Because someone did ask that, why does USCIS take a long time? Because they're ridiculous and they're not organized. Kaja, your case is put on hold by a judge. Is that good or bad? I don't know what you mean by a hold, but anytime I hear on hold, it typically means administrative closure. But that's like the second best option. I would recommend getting a dismissal. That is the best situation if you got a case in court. You're a number 1 gifter. That's cool. Um, that's very kind of you. Okay, so yeah, that person asked related to delays. What does it mean when they say cases taking longer than expected on the progress? It means they're ridiculous. There's no workflow. They're not organized. And unfortunately, every time I talk to USCIS rep on a customer service line, which I don't like doing, but we'll do it for our clients, I don't like doing it because it's a ridiculous process. For some time, they have like an automated bot, and you just like have to have some magic keyword to bypass the bot. So yeah, it's a frustrating process, but we're happy to do it for clients. But yeah, anyway, every time I talk to them, I just kindly ask something related to this, and like, is it accurate? Whatever our clients see on their portal, on their account, something says like, oh, it's gonna next steps take 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or taking longer than normal. Um, in general, especially if they have some kind of specific timeline, it's a bunch of BS. Don't follow it, because what's the point? It's misleading, right? I mean, you should know this by now if you're listening to us live or watching our videos later on. When you have time, it's ridiculous. Like, what makes you think it's accurate? Domino's Pizza. I'm not sponsored by Domino's, but it would be cool, by the way, if anyone works with Domino's higher up. Because I talk about y'all's pizza tracker all the time. Domino's pizza tracker is very accurate. They spent millions on that, apparently. USCIS did not spend millions on their data or their case tracker. They may have spent a lot of money for their own internal process, but if that's the case, show me the money, show me the product, USCIS, show me how you can help us get updated on the case, because then we wouldn't have to call USCIS so much or submit inquiry. So hopefully that helps give you some context that whatever you see online about case is going to take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's a bunch of BS. So that's probably more accurate than what you see online. Taking normal than expected, yeah, that's probably more accurate than anything else you may have seen. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Ziva, yes, you can petition for your son, even though he's above 30. What to do? There is a process. You're a U.S. citizen. That is possible, but it'll be a long wait time after the petition. But first step is file a petition. All right. Alicia says, answer the question. Let me see if I can find it. Alicia, of course I told y'all not to copy and paste your questions. And now I'm going to try to find it. Okay, Alicia, I'm sorry I can't find it. My hand is getting tired from scrolling. Thanks, y'all all for all your questions. I appreciate it. Oh man, I noticed there's so many questions I didn't answer. Y'all are wonderful. I'm gonna be live again tomorrow. Also on TikTok. Also on LinkedIn. Alicia, I can't find your question, so if you can copy and paste it. In the meantime, I'll answer this other question. Oh, finally, I can pin it. Mix asks, you had interview for asylum application, but still waiting for a response. What could be the reason? A lot of y'all ask, what's the reason? There is no reason, to be honest. They're just unorganized, okay? There is no reason. It is not necessarily about your case. The delay on your case, whatever stage it is, other than maybe when I'm in processing, if you're abroad, there's more of a reason there, discriminatory, but or they want to allege national security, but not everyone who's in admin processing has an issue about national security. Okay, but Mix, how long have you been waiting? So when we sue the U.S. government for asylum delays on asylum interview delays or asylum decisions, it get pretty quick. We get the answer fairly quick. I'm not saying like tomorrow, but the asylum interview, we're waiting when the class applicant's been waiting so long for that, usually 4+ years since filing date. We usually get a response back in like less than 2 months, and to get scheduled for an interview. I'm not saying the interview will take only 2 months, but when we do that, we have the U.S. attorney agree with us that the decision has to be made, issued out, mailed to you, or emailed to me in less than 120 days from the actual interview, so that you don't have to like sue again because you didn't get a decision. So that's how we think as a law firm to advocate for you, is that we really think big picture, because it's not just the interview, it's to get the decision as well, to get that status. All right, so hope that helps how we do things. Alicia, where's your question? Can't find it. I see you tagged yourself. I don't know if that helps me. Let me see. Ali asks, can a religious worker change employer while 45 is pending or 18 months? Yeah, check in with our team, our premier attorneys. Get scheduled for strategy session, because it's just a lot to it. We got to look at some receipt notices, things like that. But in general, you can change employer, but you're on a religious visa right now, from what I understand. So it's got to be basically got to go to another religious institution, not like a non-religious institution, if that makes sense. So anyways, it is possible. It is a little more complicated, but it's possible. This is a great question. Baras, do you discuss cases during 15 minutes, or are you just scouting cases to see if you can take it? I think what you mean in the beginning part is, can we help guide you to give you pointers? Yes, we do. Now, do we do that for everyone? No, we don't. Okay, no, we don't. But essentially, a lot of people look, if someone asks, like someone asked us before, someone actually paid a consultation before, right? That said, I have a certain visa right now, valid visa, but then ask a lot of hypothetical questions. We don't do hypotheticals. If you want hypothetical scenario like responses, then you have to pay a certain fee for that. But if you have certain facts right now, we can provide you, let you know if you're eligible for something or not in real time based on your current facts. And the reason why attorneys in general don't like hypotheticals is because we can't predict the future. So we don't do that. But if you're just saying like, so it's kind of like combined, I guess, Barras. Um, so yeah, if you're eligible or not, we let you know. It's kind of like two in one, I guess. But obviously, if yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question? It seems kind of goes hand in hand to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully, I answered your question. Jazocha ask, you just got divorced and had to withdraw your case. You're now engaged. How soon can you start a new case? So what do you mean you just got divorced? How soon? How recent was that divorce? And then how long have you been dating? Ooh, hopefully your ex-spouse is not on the show right now. But how long have you been dating the other person? Okay, the reason I say this because you want to be able to build that evidence. So as soon as you get married, yeah, you can file a new case through USCIS, but I recommend you probably wait some time. I don't know, not saying like a year. You don't have to wait a full year, but you want to build some evidence so that you can try to get your interview waived. But again, like when I started the show and yesterday, you don't if you get scheduled for interview, it's not a bad thing because a lot of y'all have been telling me like you had the interview and you're still waiting like 4 months plus, 6 months plus for the decision. But when we had in-person interview, bam, approved, in person, on the spot. Does that happen for everyone? No. Sorry, a little dramatic, but literally, like that last Friday was awesome. Okay, so don't be scared if you have an interview. But in general, we like to prepare cases before we file with the mindset of due diligence, quality control, meaning not saying like you need a full stack of paperwork, but just the right amount so that USCIS officer can approve it. Okay, so hopefully that helps. All right, in that sense. So, but I know maybe you're asking for a specific timing. Can't give you a specific time, but happy to chat with you so we have a better idea. Oh, 3 months. Okay, separated a year ago. Well, congratulations on getting to the next getting to the next step. Uh, yeah. Let's see. Deb on TikTok laughed about the ex-spouse comment. I mean, you never know because this whole like what do you call live feed is like totally organic. I don't know how it works. So yeah, you never know. 3 months divorce, separated a year ago. You're in a new relationship since February 2023. Okay, great. By the way, folks, some people have asked me how to prepare for interview. I need to record a video about that. But the number one question, at least in my opinion, and experience, how did you meet? And believe it or not, some people get tripped up on that question. It's the most open-ended question that can screw up your case. So you have to talk to your spouse, get on the same page on how to answer that question because some people say your definition of first time met can be different. I don't know how, but maybe some it's like watching a drama TV show. So I guess like some people could think like, oh, first time you met is when you just pass by each other at a bar or a birthday party or something, but you didn't talk to each other. Or another version could be like, it's first time we met is like the day we talked to each other and just got to know each other. Or another way is like the first time you met is when you went on a date together. So the first time you went on a date is a different question than the first time you met. So you just have to really take your time to prepare for these questions. And who knows, you might not even be asked, right? But even though our interview on Friday was pretty quick, 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, the officer did ask that question. So hopefully that helps. Barras, okay, you're welcome. So hopefully we can help you, point you in the right direction. um, But yeah, that's a good segue to say that, if we offer you a quote to help you, there's no obligation to hire us. There's totally no obligation. We're happy to help. It'd be our pleasure to assist you from start to finish, or when you're stuck to finish line, but there's no obligation. Okay. But sometimes hiring a lawyer can make things more smooth. Will it be faster? It'll be faster in a sense we can control our own internal processing time. But I think you guys can agree, like, we can't control the government processing time. We can submit an expedite request, but we can't control the decision on an expedite request. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Uh, okay, all right. Man, y'all get me every time. Y'all get me every time. I'm about to go. I was about to jump off, and then I see a question I'd like to answer. Um, what's the fastest state that approves spouses to the U.S.? I don't know if I understand that question. Actually, I want to clarify, get some clarification. Do you mean fastest way to get approved? But if you mean literally by state, then I mean there's the whole remote marriage thing in Utah. I know I've talked to some attorneys about it. We've been approved for the Utah, um, your remote marriage to Utah County, Utah, but it depends on a specific situation. Okay, not everyone is going to be approved via a remote marriage. So can I do I convert? Do I convert Minnesota? What do you mean by that, Oscar? Sabrine as yes, fastest way. So the fastest way is, I mean, again, depends. I mean, hopefully you met in person before, so that can help in terms of remote marriage, because remote marriage does require to get filed through petition that way. It requires consummation. So in some way, you have to have met each other, of course. Uh, yeah, fastest way through is through marriage. It's definitely not through fiance visa. Oh, I think okay, Oscar, I think you mean do I cover like cases in Minnesota? If that's what you mean to ask, yes, we do help with cases and with people living in anywhere in the United States or outside the United States. Fortunately, because thank goodness for technology, we do have video consultation strategy sessions by video. But hey, if you want to come down to Texas, come hang out. That's cool too. But if you mean like, do we help with interviews in Minnesota? Do we cover for those? Yeah, we do. But of course, you have to pay for. To be honest, I mean, I think any attorney does this. You have to pay for travel fees. Otherwise, we can try to connect you to an attorney in Minnesota for the interview, for example. Santrice asked, "You got approved in 11 months, but it was retained." I don't know what you mean by retained. And was that a petition only, I-130? Is there another way instead of I-824? Okay, so are you abroad or your spouse abroad? Because yeah, that's one of those situations we need to hey, can y'all do me a favor? Can y'all let me know in the comment section? Because I realize like, oh, abroad, okay. I realize that some of y'all are totally not interested in hiring a lawyer, and that's cool. But honestly, it would save my team a lot of time from not even emailing a quote if you're totally not interested. You just purely just want like hypothetical, not hypothetical, like one or two questions. I get it. Then we can like it's kind of like speed dating, speed networking. We can kind of go through this. But I think on TikTok and YouTube, there's like you can create like or people like me, I guess, when we have these shows, like we can create like a more exclusive group. So that you have to, I think you have to pay a little bit though. What is it, 4.99 or something, 6.99. So if y'all interested in something like that, if you like purely don't want a quote, at least not right now, um, that could help because they get a lot of questions, and I'm just not able to go through all. Like and I don't mean to do this on purpose. Like I know I skip some people. So, and my voice is like losing my voice. So Centuries. I don't know if I answered your question, but your spouse is abroad. Okay. Well, so yeah, just like to someone else I answered, it depends on what you put on your petition. I'm just making it up, but it's like in the middle of your petition application. If your spouse is applying for adjustment of status in the United States or applying for it at the embassy or consulate. So hopefully you answer that question correctly. So hopefully that helps. Great job. TikTok says, great job. You've gone live for 90 minutes. Don't forget to take a break. Holy hell, they're thinking about my mental health. Oh, that's awesome. Madame, no, we don't help with the 134A. Thanks for asking. But we're thinking about trying to we're trying to think about putting together like a webinar-ish or like a short video clip to help some people in some cases that we don't accept. So if that's something of interest, let me know in the comment section or whatnot. I need to send you a poll. I think that would be helpful. But yeah, appreciate the likes. If you appreciate the way we share information, the content we share, please tap the screen on TikTok or follow us, follow our team above right here on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, please give me a thumbs up, please, and subscribe below. Try to remember all the phrases here. All right, folks. So I need to take a break. TikTok tells me I need to take a break. So y'all have a good day and see y'all tomorrow. Take care.